Before we start this podcast, I just want to say a massive thank you to these businesses. Their sponsorship means we can keep the studio going. We're always trying to upgrade equipment so we can get the best quality out of these podcasts. We've got a positive message to send about Weston. Weston gets such a hard time, and that's not my experience. We've got so many interesting people and businesses, and together we're going to make Weston a really super place. It's got super in its name for a reason. Back to the podcast. Thank you very much for tuning in to Straight Outta Weston, Weston-super-Mare's #1 podcast. This guest I've got on next is royalty in Weston. She doesn't need any introduction, I don't think, but can we have a round of applause? Michelle Michael, thank you very much for coming on.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. Nice, bright, sunny day outside.
Isn't it beautiful?
Weston is looking amazing.
It is.
I drove down the seafront today, really high tides, and it almost looked like it was coming up to the top of the pier. Mm-hmm. Just a quick one. Have you ever had it go over? Have you ever had the water go over and like swamp the pier?
No. When the pier was rebuilt, it was built on a slight elevation to take account of the changing tides. Okay. It does come quite close to the underside of the pier, but it's not really ever come over. No.
Anyway, I've got you in. I've got a few questions. I've brought the Straight Outta Weston cards back because otherwise I end up waffling on forever. So people, obviously you're a director of the pier.
Yes.
Can you tell us something what's a little bit different and what people who visit the pier wouldn't know about the pier? Have you got any little secrets or inside gossip or?
Well, they say that the pier's haunted.
Yes.
But I've not ever had any evidence of that, other than last year. I think that we did a piece on some spooky things that were happening about sort of lights flicking on and off and things like that. But me personally, I've not seen anything like that. But there are people that have been there longer than me that have said that they've had some happenings. Yeah,
because a favourite ride of mine on the pier is the ghost train, and people say there is a ghost on the ghost train.
Indeed, that's what they say.
So I might later on have a go on the ghost train and see if we can find anything.
I'd be interested to hear.
Yeah, so if I do, I'll let you know. But so when I love going on the pier, not just to go on the rides. I just think when you've got the sun out, the tide's in, and just walk down that long pier walkway, and you're going over the water. It's almost like you're flying. You've got the fresh air. It's just a great feeling. And then I tend to, when I want to just get away from it and switch off and think of really good podcast ideas, there is a little spot right at the back, and there's like these plaques, and it says about like steep arm and flat arm. And there's these little seats there, and you know what, I love plunking myself there, and I could sit there all day and just watch the world go by. And I've got to say that's my favourite spot in the pier. Do you have a favourite spot?
I think probably anywhere with a view where you can look out where the sun's sort of shining on you, and you can sit out at an elevated level, so probably somewhere on the first or the second floor. It's lovely to look back on the town, to see it sort of hustle and bustle, watch the waves come in. I just think anywhere with a view for me is it.
So you prefer looking towards town rather than out?
Both really. I mean, Tiffany's is a beautiful place to have a cup of coffee and look out to the sea, but equally up where the offices are and where the Regency Suite is, looking back on the town, that's a great spot too.
Yeah. When I take my children, we go to the soft play bit. They're running around, and then there's at the front there's that little curved bit. That's great.
Yeah, the little balcony.
It's such. I like doing time lapses on there. You get the people walking in and out. It's you've got that long stretch, and it does look amazing.
It does.
It is such a good spot. Do you have any like traditions you do? So when you go on the pier, is there any like quirky things you do, or like traditional things you do?
So I suppose for me, when we first acquired the pier, it was quite old-fashioned, quite dated, and the processes that they had in there were obviously old-fashioned as well. And we put a lot of automation in because we like tech, so we can see where our customer journey is and who uses what ride electronically and how many tickets you sell and things like this. But the one thing that is always been the same, is how you collect coin. So if you think about the 2p's that you're playing on the pushers to win the prizes or to win the coins that drop down, you literally count them by emptying the buckets and pouring them into a counting machine. And that is something that has never changed.
Yeah.
So years ago, when they didn't have counting machines, they would do it by weight.
Oh, okay.
But now they do it by the counting machine, but there's no shortcut. So despite technology, when you're dealing with coin, you simply have to count it and put it in big bags and then fill up the machine. So that's something that traditionally I don't think people see, because it happens before we open and behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's funny because you think, obviously, like say, technology's moved on, and the simple thing about a 2p coin, you physically still got to count it.
Yeah.
When you first purchased the pier and you stepped on, what was your first thoughts? Did you think, wow, or did you think, I don't know?
Yeah, I mean, I think we grew up looking at the pier, driving past the pier, going on the pier as customers, not ever really thinking that one day it could potentially be ours. And so I think there was a certain wow factor about an asset like that. You know, it's something that's floating on the sea. You know, you grew up looking at it, you go on it as a kid, you don't really have any aspirations of owning something like that, because you don't think you ever can. So it was a lovely feeling to be able to sort of have a go at modernising it and bringing it into up to date and relevant to people of today, really. And I mean, clearly we didn't anticipate the fire. But in a way it gave Weston a brand new pier, and it's the first pier that had been built in the UK for 52 years. So, you know, it put Weston firmly on the map, and I think everybody who comes and visits has that sort of scale factor, that wow factor when they come on, because it's a big place.
It is, and it is like, as soon as you walk, I like it when if it's windy and you go through the tunnel and you pop out and you've got the deck chairs. It doesn't matter how many times I've been on the pier, I always take a picture, and like my kids are like, Dad, you did that yesterday. I'm like, I've got to do it. It's just it just turns you into a kid, and
it does.
The arcades and it's all the flashing lights. You smell like the salt and vinegar. It is an amazing thing, and you go around to a lot of seaside places, and there's a lot of derelict piers. You know, a lot of deteriorated. We've got one in Weston, Burnbeck, even though it's getting the money put into it now. For years and years it was just left abandoned, where the Grand Pier is such a life. There's always people going on, and you see people, they get excited, and like when you walk down Reed Street and you see the big red letters, it does get you. I get excited from it, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. And you're like, this is on our doorstep if you live in Weston as well. This is an amazing thing, you know. If you're ever bored, I always say to people, if you're ever bored, just go and walk on the pier. And honestly, if the sun's out and the tide's in, like I say, it just uplifts you, and it is a great place to be, I think.
And I think if you were born or you grew up in the UK, you've always got a pier story. It might not be our pier story, but it's a pier story. And I think piers resonate with children, and as they grow and they become adults, it resonates with them because they have memories. Then they take their children, then if they're grandparents, they take their grandchildren. So it's a generational thing, and it's really knitted into the culture of the UK.
Especially at the seaside as well. Indeed, you expect to see. So I grew up in Lancashire, so my nearest piers were Blackpool. So there was 3 there, but they were. I always find some of them are nice, but they're always stuck in the past, and they're always
quite dilapidated.
And you always think, am I going to fall through here? Where you step on, obviously the Grand Pier, and it's like, it's fresh, and it's just wow. It's all the flashing lights and stuff. I'm a sucker for flashing lights and noise and stuff like that. So I'm like, this is, and it has a vibe to it. I think
it does.
And it's got a real buzz, and people are always excited. And it's probably my best memory of the pier is, I'm a massive Star Wars fan.
Okay.
And I'm walking towards the pier. My kids were going to go on the soft play, and I looked behind me, and Darth Vader and some stormtroopers are walking up, and I'm like, I had to like rub my eyes and go, I'm not dreaming on that. Is this actually happening?
Yeah.
And you had some cosplayers on, and being a massive, so I'm like, I started slowing down, and I'm literally just walking in front of Darth Vader. I'm like, this is it. This is amazing. I'm like in a Star Wars film. So that was like a really good memory of mine of being on the pier. Can you tell me a memory you have of the pier, please?
Gosh, there are lots really. I suppose it was lovely to have Princess Anne on the pier. She came and opened the pier when we renovated, and then she came back after the fire when we rebuilt. So she's visited us twice, and actually when we had a previous business in Weston back in the late 90s, she came and opened our offices. So we had a connection with Princess Anne, and it was lovely to welcome her with her team, and to actually understand that they are very well versed on the people that they visit, and they have so much knowledge about their visit, and everybody knows that Princess Anne is a really hard worker. She's a great royal, and she promotes the UK and does a lot of public engagements. So it was lovely to know that she'd taken the time to understand about us and our business and what had happened to us, and she had the detail, you know. So for us, I think that was a really special moment.
That is a biggie, isn't it, when you get an actual like royal family member on there. Did she go on any rides?
No. So she wasn't allowed to go onto the new pier when it was built because of the terrorist threat of somebody perhaps putting something underneath. Yeah. So we had to show video footage of what we'd created, and she stayed at the shore end of the buildings. Yeah. So we entertained her there, and she came and had a coffee and stayed with us for about an hour. Yeah. And had a look at all the renovations, but her security team wouldn't permit it.
Oh, right. That's really interesting. Yeah. You don't think
about things like that, do you?
Yeah. I always find things like that fascinating, like behind the scenes of things. Like you see that these people turn up and do this, but you don't understand like the logistics behind it sometimes. But so someone who's never been on the pier, what would you say is the number one thing you've got to do when you go on the pier?
I think if you've never been on the pier, you've got to start at the beginning, which for me is always the 2p pusher. Yeah. So I always say, if you don't know anything about piers and you don't know anything about their history or what they looked like back in the day, you should always start with a 2p pusher, because everyone has a 2p pusher experience if they've lived in the UK or grown up in the UK. So the ability to put £1 in a machine, get £1's worth of 2p's, and spend half an hour trying to get more, trying to win a prize. It just reverts you back to a child.
Oh yeah.
And I think the tradition for me is the first bit. So the dodgems, the ghost train, the 2p pushers, and then once you've kind of done that, then I think you look at a bit of tech. So you look at the electric go-karts. You look at the way in which the old-fashioned games have developed. So now you've got sort of digital axe throwing. So you throw an axe, but it's a digital board, and then you've got the darts that happen, and you throw the darts, but it's a digital screen, and it counts it for you, and you have different games, and then you've got the hoops where you can play against each other, or dodgeball, which is a new one, or a Jurassic Park game, or so many digital games that you can play. And also now we've got the virtual reality stuff and the F1 simulators and things like that. So it's the old and the new for me. Yeah,
it's a really good mix, isn't it? Like you say, you start off with the 2p's. Yeah. For me, if you're getting on the pier, you've got to check out the ghost train. Yeah. I love it. It's like you say, just one of them where it just takes you back to when you were a kid. Yeah. And talking about the 2p machines, the amount of times I've been on with my kids, And you think you've got the knack, don't you? You go,
Yes.
right, if we get them both at the same time. Like, and you're like, yeah, we're good. Oh no, it didn't work. And then they end up taking their money because I've like literally rinsed mine.
Yeah.
And they're like, and it does take you back to being a kid again.
But it's great, isn't it? Because it lasts a long time, and I think one of the things that Seasides are about is value, a value day out.
Yeah.
So you know, if you're local and you come on the pier and you've got your My Grand Pier card, so you've got your free admission, you get discounts on everything that you do there. So you know, you could probably come up there and entertain your children for a tenner.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, you'd spend an hour doing that and poodle on home. And I think, you know, you have to be able to provide a value day out.
Yes.
So that's why everything there is a spend as you go. Because if you've got a spare few pounds, spend a spare few pounds. If you've got a little bit more, spend a little bit more.
Yeah.
But it's accessible for most people.
Yeah, no, definitely. You mentioned about my Grand Pier card.
Yes.
You do offers as well because I always follow you on Instagram. I'm saying you, but the Grand Pier.
Yes.
And it wasn't. I think it was not that long ago. You did free soft play for the kids.
Correct.
As soon as that happens, I'm like, right, come on, kids, let's get on. And like you're the best parent in the world. And it, like you say, it's free to get onto the pier with your card, and then you get free soft play. And then I think there was an offer. It was like half price coffee or something. It was something really, and it was like I was there for 2 hours, and it cost me like £2.
Yeah.
And I was quite happy sat outside, like say on that little curved balcony at the front, watching the world go by, and they're just running around letting off steam.
Well, potentially there's a few 100,000 people that have the ability to get a My Grand Pier card, and if you're local, why not? You know, it just gives you the opportunity to come more often, come with the family, come on your own and grab a coffee. You know, not a lot of people get a lot of things free these days, so why not? Why not take advantage?
And that's the main thing. The card is free. You just show like a letter or a driving license, just to show that you're
with your
local.
Postcode,
with your postcode on. In fact, I'm going to use mine later when we've done this because it's such a nice day. I need to get out.
It's a great day today.
Yeah. So moving away from the pier,
sure.
Can you give me one of the best things you love about Weston?
It's got to be the prom and the beach. I've got a little dog.
What's your dog called, if you don't mind me asking?
Zig.
Zig?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I've got a little dog. We walk around the seafront most days, even if it's blustery. You know, you've got 3 miles of flat prom, beautifully done. Not a lot of coastlines have got that. You know, you've got coffee shops in abundance. You've got great restaurants. It's lovely to just get your little doggy, go along. There's quite a few dog-friendly places now. Yeah. So, you know, you can stop whenever you want. You can grab whatever you want and make a few hours of it. And that really, for me, I think we've got great public spaces. We've got fantastic parks. We've got the woods and we've got the beach. And I think all of those are free assets for every local to enjoy to the max. And I think that's probably my favourite thing.
Yeah, do you know, a lot of people have asked me one of my favourite things, and I say, just walk down the prom. It doesn't matter what kind of horrible day you've had, just go for a wander down the prom. The fresh air is like, you know, if you've been into cities and stuff, you realise how horrible it is, but get down there, you're looking at the Bristol Channel, and it's just so fresh, and it revitalises you. Yeah, and there's always something to see. I always find, doesn't matter where I'm walking on the prom, there's always something interesting. If it's not like people going wild swimming or there's a car show on, there's always something happening, and that's one of the things I love about the prom. There's always something to see, or waves crashing over when it's stormy. I love that.
It's quite interesting though, because I think a lot of people that live in the locality don't use the prom. Yeah, I think they don't come back into town. I think they'll spend their leisure time elsewhere, and it's a shame because it as you say, you take it for granted. I think, and then when you do come down, you think, wow, you know, I don't know why I don't come more often. Yeah. But if you're local and you use those free things that you've got, those free assets, nature and a nice day and a beautiful sky and a great prom, you know, it's nothing better.
Yeah, it is. Thank you very much for coming in and having a chat. I've got you a couple of gifts for coming on.
Have you? Thank you very much. Let's see what you've got.
I could do with like a drum roll. I need to program this so we can do a drum roll, but obviously it's got to be the white shades.
Thank you very much.
Not a problem.
Should try them on for size a moment.
Yeah, let's see what they're like.
Have a look. Lovely.
Oh, nice.
Perfect weather for them today.
That's it. Let's hopefully, fingers crossed, the weather stays like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's blue sky, sun's out, and it's amazing.
Thank you.
I've got you one of these Straight Outta Weston key rings from Pretty in Petals, a local resin company.
Okay.
These are really nice.
Thank you. Come in handy.
And also, we've got the Straight Outta Weston pens. I've got you two just in case the ink runs out on one of them.
Thank you very much.
But it doesn't stop there. Just give me 1 second. Nope. I'll be back.
Oh. What have you got there?
We have been sent in some cheesecake cupcakes from Cheesecake Wonderland. I can't tilt them up to the camera. Just let me see if I can get kind of... Cheesecake Wonderland are a local business who make amazing cheesecakes. And as a thank you for coming on, I know you're a busy person, but thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, Cheesecake Wonderland.
Thank you very much. They look amazing.
If you want to share them, I'm up for that. I'm on a diet, I can't, sorry.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
That's all right, but honestly, thank you very much for giving us a bit of insight on the pier and just taking the time out to pop onto this podcast and have a chat. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, and thank you for continuing to talk Weston up. That's absolutely what we need.
This is it. I'm sick of people dogging Weston. Weston's an amazing place, so stop doing it. And I'm going to prove you all wrong. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome back. As you can see behind me, I'm at the Grand Pier. Massive thank you to Michelle for coming on the podcast for a chat. Really appreciate it. I appreciate all my guests who come on, take the time out of the busy day to come and have a chat with me on the podcast. So anyway, whilst I'm here at the pier, I'm going to use my pier card. I'm going to show you how to get it, and I'm going to go for a wander on the pier. Sun's out, loads of people are out, so I'm sorry about the background noise. We've got some live singer on the prom, which is quite cool. Yeah, let's go. So, if the gift shop here is open, you can get one from there. If not, you go on the pier, which I'll show you, upstairs to the gift shop. But I'll show you. I don't know what I'm talking, but I'll just get my card scanned. Thank you. There we go. This one. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you. All right. Cheers. And it's as easy as that. Get it scanned, and that's it. You're on the Grand Pier. Look at it. Cracking day. Shame the tide's not in, but it has been in, but look at that. Absolute minter. See, as soon as I come out I start smiling, especially when the sun's out. It's awesome. So I'm right at the front of the pier, and they've got this really nice love heart, so you can take pictures, which is awesome. Every time I come on the pier, I've got to jump in the oversized deck chair. We're going for the red one today. I could sit here all day. It's comfortable, love it. But no, let's go, let's keep going. I can't even get out now. Can I get some help? It's a good job I've got a helper today. As soon as you come on, the lights and noise. My favourite ride, as I said. Check this guy out. So what you need to do is come up to the first floor, you come to the gift shop, the helpful staff will help you out. You come and see these guys, bring proof of address, like driving licence, utility bill. It's to show that your postcode is in the catchment area. There is a certain limit to how far it reaches out, so check on the website and make sure you're in the catchment area. But you come and see these guys, show them, they check it out, and then you get issued my pier card. They do some great deals. It wasn't that long ago, it was free soft play for kids, and you get free coffees and stuff like that, so it's definitely worth getting if you live in the catchment area. So yeah. So I mentioned as well, like sitting on this balcony at the front, because look, you get to see people coming on and off. Get to see all the town and the beach. Such a good view from up here. So I mentioned as well a spot where I like to come and just sit here, chill. You've got the Bristol Channel, you've got Steepham and Flatham in the background, and it's just, and you always get loads of seagulls going up here. But a massive thank you to you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. We've got some amazing guests lined up for the podcast, so give us a like, give us a comment, give us a follow. I really appreciate it. And now I'm just going to say a massive thank you to our sponsor of the podcast. So see you on the next podcast, guys, and thanks for watching.
Straight out of Weston, shout to the town. Weston-super-Mare, where we hold you down. High energy vibes, we wearing the crown. Podcast kings, no need to frown. Roll call, shout, hear the name spreading. Weston-super-Mare, never deaded. Listeners worldwide, yeah, they be headed. Straight out of Weston, always betting. Yeah.